got into fitness because I wanted to be sexier. I looked like a pencil. I wanted to put on some muscle, and I had a picture of Brad Pitt on my phone, and I wanted to look like him in Fight Club. And I sort of went down this route and found that it wasn't fulfilling. But I was banged up. Like, my body felt horrendous. I was paying no attention to how my body felt, but paying every bit of attention to how I looked, and it was just this weird sort of paradox in my head. Exercise doesn't always have to be these dedicated big sessions and this massive event like going for a run or going to the gym, and although they can be like your bread and butter, actually the bits on the side that you sprinkle throughout your day while you're doing other things can have a monumental impact. I was on a plane the other day. I couldn't help but think, looking around at people, I was like, I haven't seen anyone move their neck.
Yeah.
The amount of people that benefit from just taking your neck for a little bit of a spin throughout the day would be monumental. And again, could give you just one bit of advice. It's just really gently move your joints, whether it's taking your neck into a circle, moving your wrists in a circle, taking your arms for a big circle, taking your spine and just moving it side to side. All these tiny micro movements are just flooding your muscles, your joints with blood, lubrication. It is so important for helping stave off the stagnation.
Loving today, loving every day. Get up, get after it. Well begun is half done. Set your own agenda, otherwise you'll end up living by somebody else's come lunchtime, and who wants to do that? Wednesday, Jan 15, 2025. Staying alive, getting alive. You got, what is it? Life loves those who live it. Of course it does. Well, let's have some more of that. Vass, over to you.
Next guest is the UK's top trending health and fitness coach who's swapping your Insta for your local bookstore. His debut book, How to Build a Body That Lasts, Exercises for Longevity, Strength and Health, is out now. So, how can I help you, madam? Here's Adam Richardson.
Good morning, Adam.
What an intro. I don't think I'm ever going to live that down. Can you follow me around everywhere? I think I might feel a little bit better about myself.
You've got enough followers anyway. You don't need 4 more.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Instagram, AA Adam.
AA Adam, yeah. Quite hard to get Adam Richardson.
So Adam Richardson is where we need to go. It is, it's at Adam Richardson with an extra A at the beginning.
Yeah, just like Aaron, but for Adam.
All right, on Insta and TikTok. And you're a smiley. You're good. You're smiling, man.
It's your hat. It's upside down, but it's setting me off.
But it's so important because we get people coming in here and they have got a great message, and it's really important that they come on and they're so beneficial, and it's lovely having them here. But sometimes they're a bit serious, which is good because then, you know, people realise they have an important message. But you're a smiler.
It's all a bit too serious, isn't it? Like the world of fitness especially. So I think it's like lighten up a little bit. I think
let's have a round of applause for that. It's all a bit too Battle Rope Barry serious. Doesn't have to be serious to be good, does it?
Yeah, I think lighten up a little bit, and I think things will be a little bit easier for most people. Like the idea of things being a bit shiny. So.
All right, so how to build a body that lasts. Exercises for longevity, strength and health. Accessible to everyone. All shapes, all sizes, all delineations, all ages. It's what we love this kind of book, so thank you for writing it. 3, 4, 5 pillars of your golden temple. Give us those.
Oh, that's so sweet to hear. I really appreciate that, by the way. Just the accessibility side means the world. Yeah, I think mobility is just the ability to move freely and easily, which for anybody who's lost it can appreciate like how unbelievably important it is to have it. And it's more than just being like a bendy human. Flexibility is amazing, it's important, but mobility is made up of so much. It's how strong you are, how flexible you are. It's your ability to have cardiovascular endurance and do the things you love for a long period of time, whilst also having enough coordination and balance to not fall flat on your face and you know, manage life for as long as possible.
Yeah, and the golden bridge towards that, you talk about it straight off the bat, and I love you for this. I absolutely love you for this. Minimal effective dose.
Oh, I love that.
Discuss,
you are taking the words out of my mouth. It's the idea of not trying to do as much as you bloody can, trying to do as little as you possibly can while still reaping the rewards. And for me, it's not actually really in practice about doing as little as physically possible, but it's about finding a manageable way of fitting it into your life. Because if it ain't manageable, you're never going to stick at it for a long period of time. I think most people will be unbelievably surprised at how little you need to do in order to reap the rewards.
So you know that I keep fit.
You're a runner, if I'm correct
I am
in
a
saying.
runner, and I try and do other things.
Yeah.
So I read your book in 2 parts yesterday. I read it just after lunch before I was due to go into my dreaded weight session, and I can't stand doing weights. Yeah. I hate it. I read your book and I thought minimal effective dose. Go in there. I took 5 Ks off each side of the bar. I did it. It probably wasn't as effective as ripping my muscles and rebuilding my muscles, and therein lies the growth. But it made me want to do it a bit more than I would again tomorrow, which is not much to begin with. So thank you.
You're welcome. No.
By the way, I know all this stuff. I just need to be reminded of it just before I go into the gym.
I think sometimes having it reiterated is so important.
Yeah.
And for anybody that's wanting to start a little bit of a fitness journey, especially in January, and you feel overwhelmed, the idea that you have to work out every single day, like you do not. Even as simple as 10 minutes, a light, gentle walk or movement can have a monumental, not only domino effect through building momentum, but actually how much better and more manageable it feels.
And it's the habit energy, isn't it? It changes your habit energy.
I like that concept, the habit energy, because I think really so much important about the idea of building habits.
What's the Goldilocks zone? I actually looked it up because it's to do with the planets, but you've nicked it to do with this, haven't you?
Oh, yeah, I know it in terms of the planets. So
that's where it comes from.
The
Goldilocks zone comes from the planets.
I just think a load of bears eating porridge, to be honest. But yeah, when I think of the Goldilocks zone, it's the idea that everyone's got a different amount, and the amount that fits their life, that's not too intense, that it's unmanageable and it makes you not want to do it, like the idea of you putting weights on your back and fearing that. But it's also not too little that it doesn't stimulate change.
Yeah.
It's the right amount for you that you can stick at for a long period of time. Fundamentally, what's going to be the most beneficial thing for you is what you can stick at consistently. That is the Goldilocks zone for me.
So, but you did cause me to look up the Goldilocks zone yesterday because I hear it a lot on podcasts, and I'm thinking, what is the Goldilocks zone? I know Goldilocks. I know what's going on with Goldilocks. The Goldilocks zone comes from planet Earth's position in the universe.
Oh, it's like the perfect distance from the sun to harbour life and
not to be too cold and not be too hot.
Who needs Brian Cox when you got Chris Evans?
I know. Well, thank you very much. Well, inspired by Adam Richardson. Yeah, we're sharing the standing ovation here that we hope one day that we will have to share. But it's all and then I went back to the Goldilocks nursery rhyme because, in a way, it's about her being the luckiest ducky. So she was the girl with golden hair, and she wanted to get everything she wanted.
Yeah.
So she wandered into the three bears' house, and therefore she thought she could help herself to anything that was there, because and that the reason we are the Goldilocks planet is because we are so lucky to be in this position. And like you say, there is a Goldilocks zone to having fitness. Again, from this Wiggle Week, you get straight onto Wiggle Week. Give us a bit of Wiggle Week, Adam Richardson.
I love the idea of, if you're trying to build a habit, trying to again make it as easy as possible, and just thinking about how you can structure a tiny little bit of movement throughout your week that sort of set you up for minimal resistance. So for me, I like thinking about things that you do regularly throughout every single day of your life, like brushing your teeth, writing an email, making a cup of tea or a coffee, and writing a list of them, and thinking about a movement that you can do that you can pair with that movement. It's the idea of habit stacking that I'm sure you've probably heard so many times in the world when it comes to trying to make behaviour change, and it's such a monumentally powerful way of making you more likely to do something, because there's minimal process required to actually think about doing it. And if you can get a couple of exercises, like doing 10 squats while you're waiting for your kettle to boil, it might not seem like much in the short term, but by the time you multiply that across 365 days, 10 squats a day, you do that 3 times a day, 30 squats a day, that's over 10,000 squats in a year. The compound interest you get out of those tiny little actions is incredible down the line.
Yeah, and the first time you are aware of being able to do something that you couldn't do before, or do it with less effort or less friction than before, because of something you've been compounding, is a real moment, isn't it? And 100%. You only need one of those and you go, oh, right, I want more of that.
I think you just flagged up such a key of motivation.
It's like a ding.
Yeah, that dopamine response is amazing. I love how that sound happened when you did that. It's amazing.
That where did that come from?
I don't know.
Did you play that in?
That was incredible.
Where did that come from? It was not.
That was right at the right moment.
Perfect.
That was
Brilliant.
amazing. See, it's one of those days.
Yeah.
It's just meant to
Kirsty
be.
said the planets were going to align, and boy, we've got our own Goldilocks zone going on.
Oh, they did. I love it.
This morning. Now, there's a thing on Instagram. There's a huge trend now for 5-minute, 10-minute, 7-minute workouts, and they are the ones for me. You talk about exercise snacking in here, don't you?
Yeah, massively. So again, it's the same concept as, I call it mobility snacks or movement snacks or exercise snacks. And it's just a little bite-sized bit of exercise. And I think it's the idea that exercise doesn't always have to be these dedicated big sessions and this massive event like going for a run or going to the gym. And although they can be like your bread and butter, actually the bits on the side that you sprinkle throughout your day while you're doing other things can have a monumental impact. Like even just here while you're sitting down, I was on a plane the other day, I couldn't help but think, looking around at people, I was like, I haven't seen anyone move their neck.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of people that benefit from just taking your neck for a little bit of a spin throughout the day would be monumental.
Well, I did that. Funny enough, I did that yesterday. I did three cycles of neck 360, 3 times 360, because I don't know about you, if you know about this, Adam, but there's this new thing I've been doing on the bed before I go to sleep. So they say if you put your legs up against the wall, so if you sit on the floor, you put your legs up against the wall, that's very good to help you go to sleep.
I used to love doing that after running.
Yeah, if you stand on your head, it's very good to help you go to sleep. If you stand on your head in the morning, Paul McCartney does it, very good for you as well. Some of us can't do that. or it's uncomfortable to do that. So there's this new thing where if you lie on your back on your bed and then you hang your head off the bed, off the side of the bed, and so the corner of your mattress is sort of digging in your neck. And if you do that for like 3 minutes, it just slows your whole world down. It's like it has some of the effects of a handstand, but not quite as much. But it does get the blood flowing to your head, slows everything down, takes all the blood to your brain, and it helps you sleep.
I'd love to know the mechanisms of why that happens. But I think it's really interesting, just even the idea of tilting your head back. I think about the fact that everything we do has a cost, and we all spend 90% of our lives curled over our desk, sat like a prawn or on our phone or whatever it might be. And how often do we actually lift our head up? Dangling it off the edge of the bed is such a nice way to get a stretch and just count backwards from the things you've been spending all day
head
doing.
up, shoulders back, chest open.
Yeah, just
lungs,
again.
Go on, lungs.
Yeah, have some
if you
oxygen.
want.
Yeah, get in there, please. I think whatever you do is just
there.
trying to like do the opposite of how you spend most of your day. And I think if you can also program and sprinkle a little of that in before you go to bed, what a nice message you're sending to your body.
It's amazing.
I think that's such a lovely thing to do.
It's amazing. I mean, I nearly fell asleep whilst in that position the other night.
You probably wake up with a sore neck if you do
Yeah,
fall
you
asleep.
would, I suppose. But then again, I used to have regular massages. I don't have them as regular anymore because I want to feel the pain a bit more and heal thyself and all that kind of stuff. But Dee, who's an amazing human being, I've sensed her around my shoulders when I was doing this thing with her head. I thought, oh, this is sort of doing the same thing. It probably isn't, but it felt like that anyway.
It's definitely a power to the power of your brain and how much it has the ability to impact like your physical state. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and the placebo effect
100%
of me wanting to give myself 3 minutes.
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
message that's sending to myself.
Totally.
It's all good. Page 104, the world's greatest stretch. This is also massive on social media.
I'm
Isn't
so
it?
glad you said
the
this.
world's greatest stretch. How did it come about? What is it for people who don't know? Everybody in our house is obsessed with it, and everybody talks about it. The world's greatest stretch.
If you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, like Google this. Legitimately, the world's greatest stretch. It will come up and it will guide
Can you just do one for us?
Yeah,
Give us your
100%.
version, because there are a couple of
This
versions
is
of
the wrong day to wear trousers. You can do this on a chair, by the way, but I don't want to put my feet up on the chair, so I'm going to do it down.
Festus, can you describe in your commentating
floor,
fashion what Adam's doing now?
Okay, so he's sort of gone in a press-up position, and then he's moved his left foot up to
like he might be starting at a 100-yard sprint.
Yeah, up to where
he's
his
setting
left
the blocks
hand
of a
was.
sprint now.
Yeah. So he's in a press-up position, except the left foot isn't down by the right foot; it's up by the left hand.
His leg up, basically.
So left knee under left shoulder.
Left knee, left shoulder. Get the hand.
Get the hands. Here we go.
Lift it up.
Lift it up.
Or a little crunch in my spine.
So left hand reaching for the sky.
Yeah, and then the left hand goes from the foot straight upwards.
Right
and
hand
then
supporting
the
him.
chest opens.
That's
So
it, like you're wringing out a tea towel in your spine.
exactly, and so you're
Your elbow all the way down to the ground, or as close as you can get.
Can't you also go through your arm?
And then thread it through the
Yeah.
to the back. And if that's too hard for people, you can just drop your back knee, or you can just get your leg up on the desk. I'm not going to put my shoes on the desk, but you can just you can adapt any movement to make
What's
it easy
going
for your
on
needs.
with the world's greatest stretch? Because everybody's talking about
Everything.
it. When did you first witness it?
Probably a few years ago. There's a guy called Aaron Horshig. I saw it. He's like a squat coach, and for me, it's the fact that it's a stretch that ticks so many boxes. It spreads your legs, so you get into something called hip extension of your foot going behind your hip, which so few of us do when we sit down all the time and your hips are constantly flexed.
And we don't move side to side as we get older. We move back and forth.
Such a good point as well. And how often do you rotate your spine in a day? Like so rarely. So it gives a really nice opportunity to get spinal rotation, deep hip flexion where you're going to get a nice stretch in the groin. You never neglect the groin around here, whilst also getting a good movement into your ribs, like I said. But as well, like training your hands, you get a little bit of stimulus through extension on your wrists, which again, so few of us get. So it ticks so many boxes with such a simple manoeuvre that again can be adapted to anybody's needs by really the easier you make it is either dropping your knee on the ground or just raising your front foot.
Yeah, there's always easier versions of these available as well.
100%. I don't want there to be a barrier for people to think I can't do that because that's too challenging.
And the thing about the world's greatest stretch is all the time you're doing it, you can genuinely say to yourself, I am doing the world's greatest stretch.
It is legitimately the best named stretch of all
It was
time.
amazing. And everybody
it's
loves it,
perfect.
don't they? Nobody minds it. Nobody's like, there are no sort of world's greatest stretch haters. That doesn't tend to happen.
I'd be shocked.
Right, touching your toe is very important. Is it top 5 survive touching your toes or trying to touch your toes, or?
Yeah, I always want to caveat this, that, there are amazing people in the world that live fulfilling lives that can't touch their toes. You're not going to break in half if you can't. Are you one of them?
I'm one of them.
And look at you. You've thrived and had an incredible life. So I think, don't panic if you can't. But I also think it's a helpful commodity to probably build into your life is the idea of training spinal flexion. Back pain, really common. So many people in the world will live with back pain at some point throughout their life. And you can become quite fearful of bending forward. So actually spending a little bit of time working towards bending your toes is just going to build a bit of confidence in your back that you're not actually frail and made of paper, and that you can build a little bit of strength.
Because as we get older and our muscles atrophy, injury is like right up there as one of the ingredients to fatality. It's the beginning of people's marginal declines, isn't it?
Yeah, it's really sad. I think the biggest cause of injury for anybody over the age of 65 is falling.
Yeah.
And you think we have an aging population, and all it takes is one little slip in the shower and it can lead to a broken hip, and there'll be so many people that are dealing with this at the moment. So spending a little bit of time as a preventative measure, I don't want it to be doom and gloom. I want it to be about celebrating your body as well, but it's probably quite wise to pay into your movement pension now so that you can sort of reap the rewards for it a little bit later before it's too late.
You're paying into that pension. That's so cool. We've got Flamisco disco. It is the Flamisco because it's the flamingo disco. We've got Babs and Wallace, also known as Babs and Wallace. We've got the dreaded plank in there. We've got desk-dwelling diva, no excuses going on. Vassos, what do you want to talk about?
Every time I opened this book, I actually was looking for the shoulder stuff because I've got a dodgy shoulder at the moment. But every time I opened the book, what page does it open on? But the dreaded split squat.
Trying to tell you something, Vassos.
It is. But it's actually trying to tell everyone something, because that's another one. It's like the world's greatest exercise almost that you can do, because it helps your balance, it helps your strength, doesn't it? The splits, sort of talk about the benefits of the split squat.
And also that's staying down in the squat as well that you talk about. How long you can, because that's a good exercise.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speak to the squat.
The phenomenal squat. We all squat multiple times a day, every time you stand up and you sit down. But so many of us stop the moment we hit our chair, and it sort of takes all the tension off of the good stuff around your hips and the lower body muscles. So spending a little bit of time like Chris is right now, dropping it like it's hot and sitting deep in a squat is not only going to challenge all the muscles, but challenge the joints as well to build a little bit of strength in that position. Yeah. And when it comes down to split squat, basically loads of different variations of a split squat. It is essentially a single leg squat using your other foot as a little bit of a support and a bit of a kickstand. And it's a brilliant way of, again, spreading your legs, getting a little bit of hip extension, but whilst also challenging your ankle, your knee, your hip mobility, and strengthening your lower body. Lower body strength is one of the greatest predictors of longevity, because the stronger your legs are, the longer you can maintain your independence. So you should be a little bit more like Chris and bust out a little bit of a deep squat, wiggle around and hold it, and you never know, you probably last on the planet a little bit longer than if you don't.
It's so funny, isn't it? What about bouncing? Some people are anti-bouncing in stretches, aren't they?
Yeah, I guess it depends on what you're trying to achieve.
Like
it feels
bouncing.
nice, doesn't it? Yeah, it feels nice. There's definitely like an elastic potential that your muscles happen in their fully stretched position. It's like having a spring and pulling it, like that's when it's going to have the most elastic potential. So bouncing around in there. At the end of the day, when you run, you bounce in and out of your cadence, and every time you step. So those tendons and ligaments have the ability to be loaded with that stretch. It's a good idea to train all qualities. You can hold it, you can bounce.
Thing, isn't it? Stretching.
It just feels nice.
Schools should stretch. They should allow kids to not wear shoes at school. All this kind of stuff. We keep ourselves in cages, don't we?
Yeah, we do actually. Yeah,
it's not the bars on the outside; it's the bars on the inside.
Oh, I like it. Yeah, breaking free from them a little bit, and again, just finding ways to fit movement into your life a little bit more when you do the things that you need to do to pay the bills.
I think you're more than half my age. Or less than half my age. I can't remember what I meant to say there. But you're very, very young.
I'm 30.
Yeah, so no, you're just over half my age. But you're catching up from a percentage point of view. How did it all begin for you? I know you talk about it at the beginning of the book. I've read it. Just tell people if you don't.
Yeah, fitness stuff. I mean, I got into fitness because I wanted to be sexier. I looked like a pencil. I wanted to put on some muscle, and I had a picture of Brad Pitt on my phone. And I wanted to look like him in Fight Club, and I sort of went down this route and found that it wasn't fulfilling. And the more I got abs, the sort of more I focused on the fat on my stomach.
Were you super ripped?
I was really lean, really
2015,
lean.
2016?
Yeah, probably a little bit sooner than that, more like 2020 sort of time, like 4 years ago.
Right.
Some pictures are really, really lean. And before then, I was even skinnier. Yeah, so really skinny boy. And I sort of felt unfulfilled, but I was banged up. Like, my body felt horrendous. I had a back injury, my hips constantly ached, I had a problem with my knee, I'm hypermobile in my shoulders, they love to dislocate and pop out whenever they like. So I was paying no attention to how my body felt, but paying every bit of attention to how I looked, and it was just this weird sort of paradox in my head that didn't really make sense. I sort of went down this mobility rabbit hole, and I never really looked back. It's the idea that, fundamentally, your body is a magic suit of meat, and it's the house you're going to live in for the rest of your life, and you only get one of them. And inevitably, we're all, if we're lucky, going to look like an old soggy tea bag. And the way you look's probably not really going to matter, but how you feel and the memories you build with your body, that's the stuff that really will matter. So paying attention to how you feel by integrating and sprinkling a little bit more movement, I just think is such an amazing honour to you, your body, as the guardian of your body, and the best thing that anybody can do for themselves while they have the opportunity to do it.
So if you love life, you can only really... it's ironic, isn't it? Some people love life but don't love themselves, and can't enjoy the benefits of loving life, and therein lies the frustration. That's when you start consuming things because you really want to. Some of the most sort of extreme addicts that I've known and met and experienced are people who don't want to destroy themselves. It's the opposite. They just can't cope with how beautiful life is, because they can't. Somehow they've lost the path to life and who they are and what they want to do on a daily basis as a vote for who they want to be, which we talk about a lot on this show. And when you discover this elixir, it's not like you have to keep it up. It's like you couldn't not keep it up. It's the opposite. And when you, like, say you get a cold and you have to rest for a couple of days, you can't wait to get well again, not to feel again, but to get back to doing hard things that make you feel even better than that.
Yeah, once you've tasted that elixir, it's really sweet. Like you want that movement in your life and how it makes you feel. And
what do you want to do? Where do you want to go with this journey?
For me, I just had a little girl, a little baby.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. She's 9 months old. She just learnt to crawl for the first time, and watching her learn her body is the most amazing thing in the world.
Let's just do that.
Yeah.
Just do that.
I love it. Like, they just have unwavering determination, and I think about us big kids. We try something once and we're bad at it, and we give up, and it's just really inspiring watching her move. And yeah, for me this year, just taking a bit more time to be with my family, and just for me, just focusing on my own fitness a little bit. I spent last year sort of digging into a lot of projects, so sort of time to take back my time and have a bit more time for me really this year. So.
Well, great to meet you, man.
You too, Chris.
It's interesting, isn't it? A lot of the young influencers, of which you are definitely one of them, are coming back our way to writing books, and the two mediums are meeting in the middle. How have you found this, something you've never really done before, compared to your Instagram presence and your TikTok presence?
Most challenging thing I've ever done. Yeah, had my pants down. Writing a book is really, really, really challenging. Yeah, so tough.
Had my pants down.
Not in the good way either.
That's a great way of describing it.
Yeah, really grateful to have the opportunity, and looking back, I'm so proud, and to hear some of the amazing feedback I've had from people is brilliant, that people are actually gaining something from it. But my God, writing one, wow.
Well, the great thing is, isn't it? I mean, I'm not saying you didn't know what you were talking about before, but when you write a book, you definitely find out how much you know about it.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Like, really makes you. It's, the best way to learn something is to teach somebody else, isn't it? To really solidify everything that you've got and put it into a written form.
If you can't teach it, you don't really know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way of putting it. So yeah, very grateful to have the opportunity, and thank you so much for reading it and for letting me be on the show and giving me time.
Anything else you want to say, Vas?
Oh, one thing, just so there'll be prawns listening right now. help the prawns.
If I could give one bit of advice to my fellow prawns, it's to try and just move your joint gently anytime you find yourself being still.
Just explain what a prawn is.
So a prawn, you will notice, is a little crustacean-shaped, rounded shoulders, forward jutted head. You may know it as a kyphotic posture, as you sit in your chair and slump in front of your desk and hammer away at your keyboard. It's the posture that most of us spend the majority of our time in the day. And if, again, could give you just one bit of advice, it's just really gently move your joints, whether it's taking your neck into a circle, moving your wrists in a circle, taking your arms for a big circle, taking your spine and just moving it side to side, your hips back and forward, your knee kicking it out, you're twisting your ankles, all these tiny micro movements, it's just flooding your muscles, your joints with blood, lubrication. It is so important for helping stave off the stagnation. Yeah. Every time you're still, imagine you're like a dirty sponge, and every time you move it, you're putting it under clean water and squeezing it, and you're getting all the goodness flushing it through. So don't be the dirty sponge, be the clean one that
Love it. Love it. It's so funny, isn't it? Because just by the Millennium Footbridge there, the Shakespeare Theatre, Globe Theatre, on the way in, I do 50 windmills. Forwards, right? And then I do 50 back. And if anybody is wondering how much your lifestyle is affecting you, treat yourself to 10 forward windmills, arm windmills, forwards, right? That's fine. You think, this isn't too difficult, I'm all right. Then try 10 backwards. It is a completely different experience because it's anti-prawn. Backwards is anti-prawn, isn't it? That's where we're going with all this.
Yeah, just moving your body in ways that it needs to and should be moved.
Felix has done it. That hurts, doesn't it? And then you can do the alternate. So you can start with your right hand above your head and your left hand by your side, and then you sort of, you propeller them. and then you'll feel all the fascia, and then that's fine. Go backwards, right? And then walk. Walk forwards, go backwards, and tell me your fascia is not having the worst morning it's had for a good couple of years. But it's all, Adam, it's all good, this, mate.
Thanks, Chris.
It's all good. How
really
to build a
appreciate it.
body that lasts. Exercises for longevity, strength, and health for everyone. Out now.
Virgin Radio.